Okay, today is February 17, 2014. Hope everybody is enjoying the extended weekend and getting ready to go back trading tomorrow. The market will reopen for trading tomorrow. So let's take a look at some of the indexes and also some of the stock and prepare, some of the price level to keep an eye on for the coming week. So let's go back and start off with the S&P 500. We were talking about in the last video about this particular pivot point here. Right, this pivot here at this low of the close at 1819.20, somewhere around there. And you could see that last week we actually, the S&P actually went right to it. So right now it looked like it's, trying to come up and tag this all-time high here. The all-time high close is 1848.38. So we got to keep an eye on that. There might be a little bit of a pullback, but the support level that we want to keep an eye on is basically this particular pivot level. So still trending within this nice trend line here. And even with the Fibonacci retracement, we are talking about, came down, sort of tagged this 50% level and bounces off. So if we take a look at that Fibonacci retracement, it could be, the 127 extension will be somewhere around this 1900 level. So that should be sort of, nice round number for a lot of the talking head to talk about when it get close to that point. But right now, the key point here we want to watch is see how it come up and see could it take out this all-time high and put in a new all-time high here. And if we look at the Dow Jones Industrial, the 30, again, we're still looking for this pivot point here for the Dow Jones. Right now, we essentially are still waiting for it to come back up here to see could it get to here, and that point is 16,257.90. Again, it's basically we're looking at somewhere around this particular resistance here last week, and also close to this 50-day moving average. So you can see that it bounces off and continue to come up and possibly try to tag this level here. If we could get to here, this resistance, that certainly it's a good possibility that it also could come up and put in a new all-time high on this run. Because like I said previously, I don't believe the Dow Jones have seen its high yet. So I do expect the Dow 30 to put in a newer high. So and this closing high here is 16,576.70. Okay. And then we'll look at the Dow Jones Transportation. The Dow Jones Transportation is lagging a little bit, but it is coming up here, and we want to see could it break about this particular resistance here, this baseline here, somewhere around this 7,300. And if we could, then we could see this possibly also come back up and tag this new all-time high. It's very critical to see how the Dow Jones Transportation act this time as the Dow Jones 30 makes a new high, because we have some changing in the characteristic of this price action here, and certainly it could, flag us to be cautious about a potential top. But we're not saying that it is going to be a top yet until it gives us a confirmation that it has formed a top. So right now we just use this as a cautionary sign here because it is a little bit lagging, although it could just make a swoosh and come up just like the quick drop here. There could be a quick rise of something like here and something like this big green ball, and could push this back up and get close to this all-time high. Then looking at the NASDAQ 100, the NASDAQ 100, we're talking about it will come up and tag this particular multi-year high, and it certainly did, and it seemed like it didn't even bother to make much of a stop after it just kind of rested here a little bit on an NR7 and just pushed right through. So we do anticipate this this index to continue to move up and possibly get up to this 127 extension, that 3760 level, somewhere around there. And then looking at the Russell 2000. The Russell 2000, again, it's a little bit lagging, but it is making a move. It found some support down here at this 1095 area, near the 38.2 retracement level. Right now it's coming back up and try to tag this, move beyond this resistance level somewhere around this 1148, 1150 level. So if we could get to here, then there's a good chance that it also could come up and try to tag this new all-time high, closing high. We don't know what that spike is yet. So we want to see this closing high somewhere around the 1149.02, no, 1149.20. Okay, so now if we go and look at some of the ETF, the spider, see the spider, we're looking at this to, again, if the S&P 500 make a new all-time high, we'll be looking at it to come up to this 184 level here, and the support that we're looking at is essentially this pivot point, which is this is the 184, or this is 181.68. And this here is 184.66. Okay, so basically looking at these level here, see could it take out this this new this all-time high, and the support. If we get a pullback, then we're basically looking for this level to provide some sort of support. If it doesn't hold, then it could easily maybe work itself back down here and trying to find support near these level here, somewhere around the 178. And the 178, 177 level. And then if we look at the Q is continuing the new high, just like the NASDAQ 100. And essentially, we're looking at somewhere around the 92 area on this 127 extension. And if any kind of pullback, we're looking at this, maybe this baseline here, somewhere around the 88.75 or the 88.50 level for support. If we can't hold that support, then we're probably looking at to come back down and probably trying to find some support down here near this 86.20 area. Okay. And then the IWM, the Russell 2000 ETF. So again, we're basically looking for it to come up and get back up to the new that all-time high up here, somewhere around the 117.21. Okay. And if we can get above that, when we probably look at to maybe possibly come back and retest this particular level here, somewhere around these 108, 109. Okay, so and then finally looking at the diamond or 1030 ETF. Again, we're essentially looking for it to come back and take out this resistance area, which is 162.24, and possibly come up here to this all-time high, somewhere around 165.47. And if we can't hold that, then essentially we are looking at it possibly come back down to this level 157.50, 157 area for support. So it's essentially it's these pivot level here somewhere around this 156.50 to 157.50. These area for support if this thing encounter resistance and pull back. There's also there's this Fibonacci retracement of 618, but we're probably looking at to come back and retrace it down to this 50% level, because you also got this trend line coming up. So this trend line in the 50% would be act as a support if it start retracing back, retreating from this resistance here. So let's go and take a look at the gold ETF GLD. We'll talk about the ETF GLD about breaking at this this particular level here, and then come up here and possibly tag this this trend line and the 200-day moving average as a resistance. And right now we're basically looking at this particular level here, this pivot here somewhere around the 130.56. For possible resistance, because also the other thing is once you get up here and then it it back off and retrace, then it could set up a potentially people will be talking about a potential inverted head and shoulder. But the key thing is if it come up and then pull back a little bit and get up to this point here, and if we break this point, this is really interesting. It's a pretty powerful resistance here. We could break this, then we're essentially talking about looking at this big double bottom here. Right, so if we take a look at this, like this is this big double bottom, and that could push it up to, if we do a measure move, let me zoom this out here, and then we do a measure move using the Fibonacci retracement tool and looking for that 100, retracement point, which is 200, that could bring it up to that 159.58, And if we take a look at the gold future, right, in this if same thing, this double bottom, if we break this, like we said, if we break this double bottom, and essentially you're going to bring it up to like 1675 for the gold, so be interesting to see. Even though if break this here, and if we go to 127 extension, we're talking about 1496, so it'd be somewhere around $1,500 type of numbers, and you'd be having a lot of these people, or those bearish people on gold will essentially be chasing after these, the gold market here. So that's something to keep an eye on for the GLD. Is the watch that come up for that double bottom break here. Let me see here. Essentially. So right now, let's take a look at Apple. We also talk about Apple. Apple, we sort of I moved this line. Initially, we have a this I think initially I have this particular price channel that I was looking at. Okay, and since it broke this support, so I basically go back and reestablish what is the next possible price channel. Just because I draw these lines doesn't mean necessarily that's what it's going to do or it's going to fluctuate within that price channel. But for now, based on what I see, that's the best that I could extract from the price action for a potential any sort of a price pattern. And here's the price channel that I'm looking at. So for Apple, and essentially, if we were to see, let's take a close up on this here. Let's zoom in. And if we took a look at Apple, last we were saying that it's going to come up and fill this gap once you break above this pivot and take out this resistance. So right now it's coming up to try to fill this gap here. Essentially, we want to see it. Could it break above this 557, 556? And if we could break above that, then we essentially looking at it possibly cut back up to this 570, 572, right? Now, if we also, in addition to that, we're talking about if we could get back up to this price channel, and if this price channel kind of leads us to the price level somewhere around 620, and that also got a little bit of confluence with this particular Fibonacci retracement. If we come down here, let me zoom this out. So if we take a look at this, taking at this Fibonacci retracement tool here, we could see that it come up to this 620 level here. If we extend this out on this price channel or this 141, but initially it could get to this 127. Right, and that will bring it up at least at 606. So the first thing is we need to see can it break above this 557, 556, and then come up and tag this 572. Once it could take that 572, then maybe we could look at the possibility of extending up here, because you also got a little pivot resistance up here somewhere around 594, 595. But in the bigger picture, we're basically looking at the possibility to get up to this 127 extension and also tagging the upper boundary of this price channel. Okay, and looking at Facebook, well, we're talking about Facebook has been quite strong. Let me zoom this in here. Right now, essentially Facebook, if you're not in it, shouldn't go and chase it. But if you're in it, then basically just sort of just manage it, because right now we're essentially sort of looking at the possibility of coming up to this, maybe somewhere around that 72 level, 7150, 72 level on this upper channel here. If we take a look at, right, so essentially what we're looking at is this particular price channel here. Let me take out this Fibonacci retracement so it doesn't look so messy here. So right now, essentially, we're looking at somewhere around maybe coming down here, for possibly the support level, maybe down at this area here, right? Okay. Because this big candle here and got a little bit of an NR7 small candle, to chase after this guy is pretty risky right now. If you don't have a position set up, a long position set up, I would wait for a little bit of a pullback so you kind of be able to establish your risk level, because right now to me at least personally, the risk is a little bit too large to initiate a new trade here. So you just you don't have to trace everything. It doesn't have to trade Facebook to make money. You could trade other stock that have better setup. Right now, this is, to me, I think for setting up a new position is a little bit risky. But if you have a long position, then you just basically kind of trail your stop, protect your profit, and just see how far it could go. Right? Okay, so and looking at Google, I haven't looked at Google for a while, and you see Google, it just continue to rise on this channel here, and it's getting up here, so maybe there will be some pullback somewhere around these level here, getting back to this, here's the 20 EMA, but I'd be surprised if it will come back and pull back all the way down to this price channel at the lower boundary here, at least not in the near immediate future or the next week or so. Maybe it will pull back to this level, and then it continue to rise up, trending against, hugging against this price channel, leading it up to a higher level here, because Google is certainly sort of running away a little bit, and even if we try to set up a little Fibonacci retracement, using these level here. It's kind of remarkable how strong it is. We're talking about maybe possibly get up to this 120, 1271 area. So, so certainly, that 1250 is not, out of the question. But that we require this thing to just go parabolic and break out of this price channel. And that doesn't mean that it can't happen. I mean, we see this like this earning gap, and something like this over here. So certainly it's possible. So again, in Google, I wouldn't be chasing it. If you don't have a long position on it, just kind of, look for something with a better risk, reward and risk ratio to go and trade on this thing here. Unless you already have some long position, then you just manage it and protect your profit. Keep an eye on these level, for possible support and resistance. Okay, so. And then looking at Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs got a little inside bar here. We expect it maybe possibly to make another move up if we break on this, break out of this inside bar. Let me go and zoom this in here. Okay, so we're talking about this big red candle here, and it's kind of trending up nicely up here to try to break out of this this level here. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see. When it break about this this level somewhere around the 165, I think it's 155. Yeah, 150, 165.52. Okay, that's the intraday high on this point, and it's actually open at 165.16. So it could break about these, this level. Then maybe we could see it to come back up, and using some Fibonacci retracement level just for now. We might see it get back up to that 50% retracement, and that would be somewhere around 170, I believe. Right, yeah, so it's on here, over here at the 169.57, which is also, we see some, price support level here, right on these pivot point, right, this right here. So, these level here. So it's kind of, maybe we'll get a little bounce and come up and attack this 50% retracement, do a little pullback and set up a little zigzag, and then maybe then it reverse itself and start up another another uptrend. Okay, and looking at B of A, we also talked about B of A last week. Here's the little bit like a little double bottom here. Found some buyer when it get down to this level. It just kind of bounces right off as soon as it came down to the 16 level here, somewhere around the 16 level. And right now, basically need to get above this 1670. If we could get above this 1670, this is 16. What is this price here? That's not 16. Close to 1699 on the intraday high, and close at 1693. So about $17. If we could get above that $17, then we could look at this thing getting back up. Take out this 1750. We put a little Fibonacci retracement here on these level here. Then we could look at this possibly 1770 $18 level at the 141 and 18 on the 161 extension. So I think the key level here to watch is to see could it take out this particular closing level of 1693. So essentially look for a breakout at $17 somewhere around there for BFA. Then Blackberry is interesting. I think there's some news came out about a hedge fund took a 10% or something like that position on it. Believe in the after hour it got a little pop to about 940 or something like that. So we're essentially looking for a support area down here at 876 somewhere. Okay, this 870. And if we could break out this little pivot here, essentially it's just forming a double bottom. And then it could take out this level, says 1078, and possibly get back up to this 1150. And once we get into filling this gap, then we'll probably do some, set up a little short squeeze and could squeeze it up here to this $14.50 to $15 level. So the key point here to watch is this pivot level here to see could it take it back up above this $10 level, and then see how the price action is. Could it just continue to move up here and take out this resistance between this 1154, then we might see this guy run. But if it breaks down, then we actually be looking at the possibility of maybe a support level here to see can it hold support down here. If it can hold support, then we might be looking at for it to come back down and test all these lows down here, right? So, but right now the key level to watch is essentially these pivot point here somewhere around these level. Okay. And then let me see, there's a couple more that we want to look at. Micron, we were talking about Micron last week, and again, Micron made a nice little breakout, above this particular baseline here, and right now it seems to be setting up a little flag, consolidating here. So maybe got another, consolidation and breakout of this flag up here and make another move up. So, but certainly, Micron is still pretty strong. As in the semiconductor sector here. And the turnaround play that we're looking at is AMD. AMD seems to be holding up, and again, it seems to be flagging here. I think if we get back above this 375, possibly 380, that might be a good time to look for possible entry, or, I do have a small position on that, and I might be start looking at the possibility of adding to my size here to play it back up to maybe possibly to this 447, 450, because we are looking at this particular resistance here, and maybe like I said, third time, maybe a charm here, because we want to look to see can it break about this 6470 level here and possibly get it back up to these 5-6 level. And if we take a look at this Fibonacci retracement, here, so we're basically looking at the 50% retracement level somewhere around the 5, and here's a 618, then it'd be above the 580 something. So so that might be another play, So, but the thing is, it seems to be trading in this band. Found a little support down here at the 330 area. I was looking for it to come back down to the 320. I never made it down there, so right now it seems to be coming off of this, this support level. And right now, essentially, you see, could it get into filling this gap? If it fills this gap, it's pretty much like the previous time, the earning play. So maybe it could get back up to this 470 level and break out this particular time. So right now, that's basically what I got for now, and hopefully, next week it's gonna. Well, this coming week is a short trading week, and should be interesting. And by the way, let's take a look at HP. Yeah, let's take a look at HP. HP is having an earning report this Thursday, so got to be aware of that. And we're talking about breaking this 30 level here, and it seems like it's coming up to break this particular 30. Okay, let me. All right. So that's kind of be interesting. Kind of keep an eye on that. All right. See this pullback here on this pullback, and it. We essentially is looking at the possibility of breaking above this particular pivot, which it did. So now it seems to be coming up and try to break this resistance here somewhere around the 30 dollar level. So maybe if it just consolidate a little bit and then push it up. But be careful. There, like I said, there's this earning coming out on Thursday, so anything could happen. So make sure that you have your objective set of what you're trying to do with HP. So good luck to you all on the coming weekend trading.